Guys, welcome to the video. Today's my second video and I'm going to create another winter classic, which is a game pie, which I've been challenged by a very good friend to make. But I think it's doable and achievable, so we're going to have a go at that today. The recipe is a game pie with fennel and carrot. You can also find it in Mary Berry's complete cookbook, which has a lot of classic recipes and is a valuable source. You'll also find that it has a lot of instructions and guides on how to prepare your different meals and for all the recipes that are in the book. And I find it, I encourage those of you who are starting out to purchase a copy, so you can be au fait with techniques and develop your skill. Ingredients laid out. So I've got some flour, the puff pastry, and what I was able to get from Waitrose was a mix of some partridge breast fillets, game casserole, which comes ready packed, which gives me a bit light on what I need. So what I'm doing, I'm going to include some duck breasts. Also, what I need is a couple of large carrots, an egg on top of the pastry for the pie crust itself, an onion, some red wine, which will keep me company as I cook, and some red currant jelly, and a fennel bulb. Relatively simple. Again, quite straightforward. You need a casserole dish in order to prepare the game and to heat it up, and then obviously a pie dish, and usually we'll have a hole with a bird or something on top to let the steam develop while it cooks. And I've already set the bowl rolling. I've heated the 2 tablespoons of sunflower oil in the casserole dish, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the game in some batches for it to brown in the casserole pan. So first of all, what I'm doing is I'm adding the sliced duck or the chopped duck and some of the partridge as well. First of all, I'm going to it's nice and brown. Take a few minutes. And while that's doing that, what part is it? I need to take some paper towels because I'm just going to get some of the oil off of it. So I'm going to set that up while we do that. Just going to bring that over here. Just make a little bit of space. Get one of my nice plates for that. Just set it aside right over there. Keep this going. There's a decent heat. This is a minimum heat. Again, it's browning quite quickly and quite nicely. Just that, I'm going to add a little bit more, like so I'm going to add them in batches. Obviously I've washed it all beforehand, which is something I like to do. When this is all sort of brown, we're going to put it on the paper towels, and then we're going to add in the carrots and the fennel and the onions just to get the vegetable part of it underway. This is effectively the casserole part that we cook, and then we'll put that in the pie to bake, if you like. I'm going to add the remaining part of the game. Get it all in. What I've done, I've taken the block of the pastry we've got, and basically I've taken the rolling pin on a bed of flour plate, and I've made that large enough so you can see I've got my pie dish, that when I invert my pie dish I get enough coverage of the top, and I've got a significant amount of the trimmings that to decorate my pie and also to form the crust of the pie. There we go. Okay, now I put the inverted pastry dish. I've used this plastic knife, which it cuts very well, but it isn't sharp. And I've gone round the top of the dish with it inverted, and I've done 2 different things. So what I've got with that is I've got the pie lid, and I've cut around a separate strip, which is about 1 centimeter, for the actual crust to go around the side of the pan. And you can see on the side I've got some trimmings here, and that's to go for the actual decoration. We'll make that up with a pastry cutter for the decoration for the top of the cake, pie rather. And effectively what I'm doing here, what you see, I've got the rim here of my pie, a long strip which I've managed to relatively keep in one piece, which is quite challenging, and I think it benefits that plastic knife that I've got. I'm going to lay it here on the side of the dish, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press that into the dish here, just to make that border nice and distinct. Bit falling off here, and keep it on the side to prevent it dipping into the pie dish, because effectively what I'm going to do is then decorate that dish. Those cuttings, so we'll get a pastry cut in a minute. Later on, what we do when we spoon the ingredients in and put the lid on, we'll use a fork, and the fork will push down onto the pie from the crust and keep it all intact. And that's looking quite stuck on now, so it shouldn't slide anywhere or go off anywhere. That's quite important really, because otherwise the crust is not going to be like a loose bit there. So just checking and checking, going around, using that sticky property of the pastry and the flour that we've got, just to put it all together quite nice, and I'm quite happy with that now. Now we've got the oven, which is all ready to go, preheated at 180 degrees Celsius, obviously for a fan assisted oven. We've got the pie, which has been stirred a few times, a casserole a few times, coming up to an hour now. Additionally, what I've also got ready is we've got the stars, and the stars have been glazed on the back side with the beaten egg. I'm going to glaze the top of the pie as well. Okay, so we can see that's the pie top. I've cut out the shapes, and I've got the pie base all lined up with my crust. So everything's going well. Time for a little bit of wine in the middle. So I've cooked this for now an hour. I've got all the contents for my casserole. You can see how it looks like. All cooked all the way through, a little bit burnt around the side, but that's no harm. What I'm going to do, I'm going to spoon that in to my pie dish, as you can see. You can see what it looks like as I spread it evenly across the base. All getting ready for completing the top of the lid, and then to heat it with the pastry in the oven. And part of that is in us involving brushing the crust with water, and then putting our star decorations on, as I've illustrated before, and then putting the egg, the beaten egg, on top, just as a glaze. What I'm going to do, I've got the brush here with water. I'm just going to go around my crust here, all the way around, and so just level the contents a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is get my pie top, a little bit big, but I can work with that. I'm going to make a cross in the top to let the steam come out. And what I've got quite nicely is this little blackbird for that purpose, just to tuck in there. Not quite in the center I'd like it, but I can work with that. What I'm going to do now is get my fork, and I'm going to crimp the side for the effect of the pie all the way around my dish. So rotate it all the way around. taking care not to make any holes in the pastry itself. So I've got all the way around there to make that seal. I've got these stars which I've glazed previously as my decorations with the beaten egg, just to allow it to stick down. Been watching a lot of wartime movies today, so it reminds me of the rankings of the generals, 5-star general, 6-star general, which apparently doesn't really exist. There's a bit of trivia for you. And here I am with my pastry brush. I'm just going to glaze the top of the entire pie with the beaten egg from before. And this is going to go in the oven, preheated again, 180 degrees, for 25 to 30 minutes. Get that all the way around for the glaze. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be really good. Good challenge. Good winter dish. And there we go. So I'm going to take that to the oven. Pop that in. Nice and hot. 25 to 30 minutes. Come out of the oven. You can see the browning on the top, and the bird that we've got there just as a vent. And in a couple of minutes what we're doing is going to get a knife and cut and show you the inside and see how it's prepped and ready. Finished now. You can see the layer we've got of all the game underneath, the carrots and the onions, and just cuts it very well. The pastry is really crispy, really fluffy as well, and it just looks absolutely perfect.